There has never, in the history of human existence, been a better time to live than now. I graduated here in Temple City High School 2 years ago, class of 2016. That's my friend, but on November of 2016, I decided to embark on my own journey as a student, philosopher, and entrepreneur. I can definitely relate to most of you as someone who had no idea what I was doing or where I was going. When I set out on my journey, however, I noticed something incredibly wrong with the way we were shaped in our growing environment, which, as a result, is stunning the growth of our future. I'm going to share a couple of my experiences with you as a digital nomad and entrepreneur to highlight some of the lessons I've learned. Like I said before, I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do back in high school, even though I thought I did. I worked a part-time job at the Southern California Heart Center, a cardiologist office, as an office assistant during the end of my high school career and a little into my college life. My thought process was that this was going to help set me up towards a career path in the medical field. As I worked in the office, however, I realized how much I didn't like it. In that environment, I was surrounded by doctors and nurses and learned that most of them go through depression. Every day they see patients come and patients go. I knew that if I continue going down this path, I'd end up doing something unhappy. So when I was thinking about this, I was trying to think about what I had to do to get to the end goal. But for some reason, I stayed. I stayed because of the expectations that my family had on me. I stayed because it was the very reason why I went to school in the first place, to get into the medical field. And honestly, I stayed because I thought it would look bad on my resume if I quit with less than 2 years of experience. Not long after, my boss called me to her office and she said, "Yo, Norman, we gotta let you go." At first, I didn't know what to say, or it was as if my breath was sucked out of me. I didn't know what to do or how to act. As I was trying to think about how everything was going to play out in my head, I left the office smiling. I was lucky I got fired, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to see the vast opportunities that were right in front of me all along, and that has changed my life. I say this because while all of this was going on, I noticed one of my best friends was doing his own thing, happier than ever. That got me to doing a ton of research as to what he was doing and whether I could replicate it or not. He was traveling to many different places, meeting and networking with the top influential people and entrepreneurs across the country to help shape the future of our world. I saw this as an opportunity, and although I didn't know what to do or how to start, or even where to start, I knew that this was something I wanted to do, and I wasn't going to settle. Had I not seen this as an opportunity, I would not be standing here today. So the moral of this story is to go get fired. I'm just kidding. No, please don't do that. We are currently living in a revolution. Take a look around you when you walk down the street. You'll notice that many people are living in a world of their own, staring down at a screen. We are living in what is called the digital revolution. The digital revolution, there is a digital revolution amongst us that is radically changing the way we live each day. Think about it as the modern day industrial revolution. During the industrial revolution, man created machine to cut down on labor. This is the same concept, but far more complicated. The radical shift in technological advancements are allowing us to do things in a much quicker manner, which is completely revolutionizing our everyday lives. It is not an idea. It is a paradigm shift in our human existence. And it is not a matter of when it will happen, because it is already happening. It is happening a lot quicker than we may think, and if we cannot see this, then we too will get left behind. On top of the technological aspects of this paradigm shift, social norms are also completely changing. I mean, it'd be crazy for a 15 or 16-year-old to go off into a stranger's car to a different location, but it happens everywhere. It's what we call Uber or Lyft today. That's why it's very crucial that we understand how quick things are moving. I mean, think about it. The internet is by far the greatest invention ever, allowing us to do things, productive tasks, 24/7. I mean, the amount of work that can be done at 2 a.m. in the morning is far more than what it used to be 50 years ago. So the question is, why does this all matter? One of my mentors, who was featured on the Funnel magazine, Jonathan Fultz, says that the digital revolution has already begun its waves of progression, each one more powerful than the last, will trickle down into every aspect of our lives. Thinking back, the past couple of years, we can already see how quick things have changed and how that has affected us. And growing up, we always hear the phrase that time won't wait. So it's absolutely important that we understand this when it comes to the decisions we make. In order to prevail and survive in the future, we must understand this idea. And speaking of the future, who will end up on top? In the future, there's always going to be competition among everyone to stand out from the rest of the crowd. The best example I can give you are that of students, middle school, high school, and even college. Students tend to compete to earn the best grades in order to get into the best schools in order to get a good degree. After that, they compete to building a strong resume and then compete with everyone else entering the workforce. This is the modern day survival of the fittest. The thing is, it's not too far-fetched to compare the competition among students to that of natural selection. In order for our generation to thrive in the future, we must understand evolution and evolve. Millennials often criticize their parents and or grandparents for not being able to use a computer or phone. I'm sure some of us can relate. But if the same people are unable to catch up with change, then they too will end up in the same situation. We are all familiar with the man Charles Darwin, who is also known as the father of evolutionary biology. Well, there was a famous professor in the 1960s by the name of Leon C. Megginson, who summarized Darwin's work and concluded that it is not the strongest of species that survives, nor is it the most intelligent that survives, which sounds interesting and a little weird. But he adds, it is the one that is most adaptable to change. The first step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. The digital revolution is happening before our eyes. With the rapid growth of technological advancements, it is similar to that of a wave in the ocean. Either take the opportunity to ride it or get swept away. It is crucial that we understand this idea. With change comes an entire pool of opportunity. It is only a matter of acknowledging that as an opportunity. For example, retail stores have been going on a decline for, in 2017 alone, more than 7,000 major US stores have either closed or announced to be closed. These include large companies such as Macy's, JCPenney, Radio Shack, Payless Shoes, and so on. Just recently, I mean, Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy. Is this all just a coincidence? No, definitely not. According to the Pew Research Center, approximately 8 in 10 Americans are online shoppers, roughly 79%. This means that most Americans tend to order things online at their own convenience. So the question is, why is it that these large companies who have found massive success in the earlier stages going on a decline? It is simply because they cannot adapt to the market change. Most US consumers hang out around places like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I mean, you guys can name the rest. But this means that they're getting outcompeted by smaller guys who are able to cater to these people by utilizing these different social media platforms. Another example would be cryptography and the blockchain technology, which is stirring many controversial debates among Wall Street and big bankers. The list goes on. But the point is that there has never been a better time to capitalize on these opportunities in front of us than now. Since many of you are students, I'm sure you get asked the most dreadful questions in the entire world. Which school are you planning to go to? Or what's your major? What do you plan to do for the rest of your life? As if we have all that figured out, which, by the way, is okay if we don't, really. But what this does, the problem with this is that it closes off all other options and opportunities around us, subconsciously instilling a fixed mindset towards life. It makes it much more difficult for us to go out and explore the world. I actually hosted a mastermind back in December of 2017, where my team and I gathered a group of like-minded people to teach them about certain topics such as e-commerce, Facebook ads, social media marketing, and so on. During this time in December, we decided that we wanted to give back to the community, but we're surprised by the outcome and response that we got from sending invitations. Our objective was to target people who were local to us, essentially people who we went to high school with. Despite the fellowship and friendship that we've developed throughout the years, people called us liars and frauds. Proceeds for this information and action-packed event, which by the way was $20, about 4 or 5 cups of Starbucks coffee, went towards a nonprofit organization. On the other hand, the response of this event, after this event, was very enlightening and inspiring. As soon as we ended the event, many of the attendees came up to us and thanked us for putting this together and shook our hands. Being able to inspire so many people to take actions on their goals and aspirations were the very reasons why we decided to host the event in the first place. About 70% of the attendees were not from the area we were trying to target. So the question we tried to ask was, why? Why is that? An event that allowed people to network with and learn from other people, why were people so skeptical? The only explanation that we could come out with after talking to a bunch of the attendees and some of the people we invited to come to the event was this. Many students are disciplined to the conventional path of going to college after high school and then building a resume for a job afterwards. The unconventional path, an uncommon path, would be to, for example, going to a trade school or starting your own business or even traveling the world simply because it is deemed to be dumb, impossible, or risky. The problem with this is that we're living as zombies, tunnel visioning our way through life. In a literal case, it would look like this. Think about walking around the campus looking like that, right? It would be crazy. But the point is, what's the point of this talk? I want you to be able to open your eyes to take a look at the endless opportunities that lie ahead. Understand that there is a paradigm shift in our human existence that has never been seen before, and that the digital revolution is opening the doors of opportunities that come along with it. It's time to recognize these changes that are ahead of us and the opportunities that come. One of my best friend and mentors always says, if you want it bad enough, you'll get it. No matter the sacrifices that you have to make or how difficult it is, as long as you have the drive to get it done, you will, in fact, get it done. It's time to go out and recognize these opportunities and take action on it, because there has never been a better time to do so. And ultimately, there has never been a better time to live than now. Before any of you move, there are actually post-it notes underneath your chairs. Before any of you move. But let each of those represent opportunities. Knowing that the opportunity is there, the question remains on whether you'll take it. As Gary Vaynerchuk always says, something that is way worse than failure is regret. Thank you.